Now on CoastTV News.
A new pope elected.
The man has obviously lived a holy life, and I just look forward to his leadership.
How Catholics on Delmarva feel about the historic appointment of the first ever pope from America.
Milford building battle. New plans could reshape one neighborhood.
Jet ski scooter? The story behind the wildest ride in Sussex County.
This is CoastTV News at 6.
The new pope makes history as the first American pope. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. Welcome to our News at 6. We begin tonight with the appointment of Pope Leo XIV.
Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost was elected the first North American pope in the 2,000-year history of the Catholic Church. The pope is 69 years old. Pope Leo is American, born in Chicago, but has Peruvian citizenship after living and working there for years. He earned a degree in mathematics from Villanova University and went on to receive a diploma in theology from the Catholic Theological Union of Chicago.
Pope Leo spent a lot of his career as a missionary in South America. He most recently led a powerful Vatican office for bishop appointments. He is expected to build on Pope Francis's reforms. The new pope was formerly the prior general or leader of the Order of St. Augustine, which was formed way back in the 13th century as a community of friars dedicated to poverty, severance, and evangelization. The order works about 50 countries, promoting contemplative, spiritual, and communal living and service to others.
In his first remarks as Pope from the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, Pope Leo called for peace and paid tribute to the late Pope Francis to a roaring crowd. Let's take a listen.
I should also like this greeting of peace to enter our hearts and your families, and to all those people, wherever they are, all peoples throughout the world. Peace be with you.
Also in his remarks today, the Pope Leo XIV, outlined his vision for the Catholic Church as one that, quote, builds bridges and engages in conversation. The new Pope also called on people to, quote, show our charity to others and to be in dialogue with love, according to an English translation.
As parishioners expressed shock and pleasant surprise at Pope Leo's appointment, local church leadership did too. CoastTV News' Christina DeRobertis joins us live now from St. Edmund's Church in Rehoboth. Christina, you spoke with a number of priests.
Yeah, Maddie, and they say they were very surprised with how quickly the decision was made. Also completely surprised that the Cardinals decided to elect the first ever North American Pope. But many pastors we spoke with today all saying something similar, that despite the Pope being from the States, the role, it really transcends nationality. Father Brian Lewis of St. Jude the Apostle Church in Lewis watches closely as history unfolds in Rome. He says the moment comes after a stretch of reflection and grief.
The challenges of balancing mourning and joy, the loss of one pope and the joyful welcoming of a new one, is shows to us that God in his goodness knows our human emotions and the whole spectrum of them, from sorrow to joy.
Father Lewis says the new pope's background makes him uniquely positioned to bring people together across cultures and continents.
Leo XIV spent many, many years ministering in Peru, so he speaks Spanish fluently, of course Italian and Latin fluently, English as well. So to have a pope who is multicultural and multilingual, who will be able already to unite the world by overcoming one of the greatest barriers that we have in the world, and that's language.
And it was a similar reaction from Father William Coco of St. Edmund's in Rehoboth.
The Pope is our shepherd here on earth. And, you know, a shepherd has to be in connection with the sheep. A shepherd, and not just certain sheep in certain places, but all the sheep. And certainly even the ones who need him the most.
At this stage, the Pope isn't African, the Pope isn't American, the Pope isn't European. The Pope is the shepherd. He's the vicar of Christ, and he's the servant of the servants of God. And so in many ways, he's every person.
Catholic leaders across Delaware now looking ahead with hope as the church welcomes a new shepherd and a new beginning. And it's worth noting the church that I am standing at right now, it's made national news, as this is former President Joe Biden's church when he visits Rehoboth Beach. And the former president posting on X today, "May God bless Pope Leo XIV of Illinois." Reporting live in Rehoboth Beach, I'm Christina DeRobertis, Coast TV News.
Thank you, Christina.
We spoke with Catholics on Delmarva all about today.
Coast TV's Zakiya Jennings is live in Lewis. Zakiya, people were excited.
Maddie, the Catholic Church in Lewis is already putting up celebration decor for the Pope. As you can see here behind me, there is white and gold bunting that was hung up less than 10 minutes ago, symbolizing the colors of the Vatican. We spoke with Catholics across Delmarva who could not believe that a Pope from our country was appointed.
It's actually kind of like a wow factor that it in the history of the Roman Catholic Church that this is going to be the first time that we'll have a Pope that's American.
We spoke with Catholics who again expressed this feeling of joy, of hope, and now they can pray for their new Pope, Pope Leo XIV. Live in Lewis, Zakiya Jennings, Coast TV News.
Thank you, Zakiya. So what does the new Pope mean for the future of Catholicism? Professor Timothy Stock at Salisbury University says Pope Leo may have a unique impact on churchgoers in our country.
In general, there have been a lot of difficult things that the church has faced over the last 30 years, especially the American Catholic Church. And so I think reinvigorating a sense of spirituality, reinvigorating a sense of commitment to the church, all of these things will be goals of Leo. Whether or not he's able to accomplish it has a lot to do with whether people feel politically comfortable, morally comfortable, and whether or not they see that spirituality being able to be played out in their daily lives.
And this brings us right into our Coast TV poll. We want to know, how do you feel about having an American Pope?
Let's take a look at the results from last news hour. 50% say surprised, 38% say proud, 12% say neutral.
And we do have a comment today from Connie in Ocean View, and she says simply, wonderful.
With a lot of exclamation points,
Yes.
so I think she's pretty excited on that.
If you haven't voted yet, you can still do that, or you can leave a comment at coasttv.com or use the Coast TV mobile app, and we will show you updated results tonight on Coast TV News at 11.
This is a historic day across the world, and we will keep you informed as we learn more about Pope Leo XIV and everything that comes of this incredibly historic day. So be sure to stay with us on all of our Coast TV platforms. Let's go ahead and take a live look outside now into Ocean City, a beautiful day here on the peninsula. Our First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams joins us now with a look at our forecast. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening, Maddie, Charlie, and we are looking at a pretty good-looking evening as well. Scattered cloud cover in place. 72 for us right now in Milford. We'll drop to 66 with increasing cloud cover as we go into the late night hours. And there's a reason for that. We're bracing for a chance of scattered showers to come trickling its way in our direction. We're at 67 in Lewis right now, but we're at 72 in Redden, 75 right now. Georgetown, 76 currently for us, actually in Laurel. Now, we do have a small craft advisory that's active from Ocean City down towards Chincoteague, watching out for 25-mile-per-hour winds. Coming up, we'll talk about the timing of that rain for late tonight and tomorrow, Charlie.
Paul, you're looking at the location of a lot between 111 and 115 North Walnut Street in Milford. It's drawing a lot of debate.
It's two businesses specifically, and the space between them could turn into a mixed-use building. That would mean business in the basement and on the roof, with apartments on the floors in between. To execute that, the builder is going to need 3 different variance changes in Milford. Think of those as exceptions for height, width, and density. 2 of those were given the green light. But as Emma Aiken shows us, the height of the planned building was not.
This little open lot in Milford could become new apartments and new businesses. Zach King wants to make this a mixed-use 4-story building with up to 16 apartment units, saying affordable housing is his main goal.
That's why the board passed our density variance, which our density variance seems ridiculous, the amount of units, but again, it's because we're not required to have on-site parking, and our lot is very small, and we've shrunk the size of the unit.
King is also proposing a restaurant and bar business on the top of the building, and even a business in the basement of the project.
The more commercial space we can fit into a building means more rents coming from those commercial tenants. which effectively means less money we have to make off the apartment units.
But opponents of the idea, like Ryan Hold Longenbach, who lives nearby, say the building will be an outcast.
The property is going to be taller than the other properties in the neighborhood by 1 to 2 stories.
And he says he worries about disturbances and safety.
When they do something on a rooftop, you're going to have noise across everywhere, especially with the height. And you're going to have an issue with things being thrown off the roof. It's just going to happen. It happens. Rooftop bars, you can see they get pushed off the roof.
And it's the height of this project that was turned down today, though that decision could be reversed later. For now, it's just the latest example of the push and pull of development projects looking to build the future of Milford while maintaining its past.
That was Emma Aiken reporting. Now, this proposal will still have to go to the Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council later this month. We have a lot more news to get to this evening.
Coming up in sports, the Capitals trying to tie up the Eastern Conference semifinals tonight. DSN has more on an important Game 2 in D.C.
And we are expecting some showers after dark. I'll pinpoint the timing of the rain coming up.
But first, from the water to the road, the story of one man who's getting creative with getting around town. We have that story in just 60 seconds. Here on the coast, you see a lot of cars, motorcycles on the roads, and you see a lot of boats, jet skis, kayaks, what have you on the water. But what happens when you combine a jet ski and a motorcycle? In this week's Coastal Connections, we introduce you to somebody who has done just that.
This is Justin Bonneville, and this is Landu. That's the name he has given his motorcycle jet ski hybrid.
My passion would definitely be, anything on 2 wheels.
Bonneville is a Sussex County native and has owned a motorcycle for more than 20 years. He says the idea of adding the outside of a jet ski to one of his bikes came from seeing them elsewhere.
I'd seen them done in Florida, and I thought, that looks pretty cool. You know what I mean? And finally I said, I'm going to try to duplicate it.
Having owned bikes for years, Bonneville says knowing how the parts work and go together made the whole process that much easier. He tells CoastTV while the cost was low, labor was high.
Stripped all the plastic off the scooter, slimmed it down. Any extra weight I could slim off of it, I did. And then, once I had that bare frame scooter, then I knew the dimensions of the hole I needed to cut in the bottom of this jet ski to be able to, set it on top.
And finding the jet ski to use worked out just fine.
I actually bought the jet ski out of a buddy of mine's backyard with a blown motor for $100.
He says the best memories for him come from others' curiosity. And he says he never gets tired of all the questions.
It's been very positive, from, young to old. Everybody's at first, they're like, what is that? And then it finally kind of dawns on them like, hold on, what's going on? So it's been cool.
Despite being half jet ski, it cannot go in the water. Bonneville has a pretty quirky response, though, when people ask him.
I always tell people, yeah, straight to the bottom.
Bonneville shares one thing that made all the long work worth it. Reactions from the young ones.
I was that kid. Who didn't, when they seen a biker going down the road, one of them to rev the bike? I mean, that's typical kid stuff, you know what I mean?
And if you're lucky, you could end up seeing him on the road. Bonneville says you can catch him riding along the coast with his beloved Landu all summer. For this week's Coastal Connections in Sussex County, Brendan Conroy, CoastTV News.
Beautiful weather for right now, and I think we're going to stay beautiful going into the weekend. The stumbling block might be late tonight going into Friday morning. Right now, we're looking gorgeous, as they say. 72, courtesy of our tunnel and razor camera, will drop to 63 by 10 o'clock. We're at 72 degrees right now. Dagsboro, Long Neck, Redden, and we're at 74 degrees in Delmarva as well as Gumboro. The winds right now starting to pick up ever so slightly, but primarily out of the southeast. Recently recorded wind gusts up to 11 mile per hour gust force in Millsboro. but we do have an active small craft advisory. In simplest terms, this means from Ocean City down towards Chincoteague, we're bracing for about 25-mile-per-hour wind gusts right along the coast, but not necessarily the inland areas. We are looking at a relatively zonal flow, meaning directly from the west to the east, with some scattered showers getting ready to cross over the Chesapeake Bay area, but it's not all that impressive just yet, but it is accompanying a trough that's beginning to kind of waffle and wave its way in our general direction. Overnight, we'll drop back down to 60 degrees with cloudy skies. The winds relatively light, but here's our storyline. Friday is going to be a damp, dreary kind of day with showers, especially in the early morning hours, but here's the wonderful plot twist. Mother's Day is going to be beautiful, dry, and if there's any day that we have to pick where the weather needs to be perfect, it is definitely Mother's Day, right? 5-day precipitation chances, we're at a 56% chance on Friday, skip through the weekend, and we're back to a 50% chance of rain on Tuesday. You see, early Friday, right after midnight, we'll see some scattered sprinkles around Highway 16. Then that wave of rain will push through relatively quickly. And then we stay clear for Saturday going into Sunday with no problems. The most southern portion of our viewing area, 5:30 in the morning here as well from Pocomoke City, Snow Hill, Newark, Berlin. That's probably going to be the heaviest amount of rain in the morning time. Then everything skips through relatively quickly. Going to the afternoon, we may have one more wave of light rain, but that's primarily it. Because look at the amount. We're only talking about, quarter of an inch best. So 73 and clear on Saturday, 81 on Mother's Day. Then the next real rain kicks in, let's say next Tuesday going into Wednesday. You see the heavy green across our area. Here's where we are. We stay rain soaked. We stay soaked for Wednesday and going into a little bit of Thursday, but temperatures will be above the norm. So tonight we go to 59 with a chance of rain. Early morning rain for tomorrow and 70, but then we clear out in time Saturday for the weekend. Finally, here's a look at your extended forecast. Just as a reminder, 70 with scattered showers on Friday. Saturday, not a problem. Sunday, warm and not a problem on Mother's Day. Monday, 79. But then the real rain will kick in for 3 days in a row next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. That's a look at your forecast.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Puck drop at the top of the hour between the Caps and the Hurricanes. Let's take a look at what's on the line tonight in D.C. Washington is trying to bounce back from a 2-1 overtime loss in the series opener. Carolina held the Caps to just 14 shots on goal in that one, the second fewest in a playoff game in franchise history. The Capitals are trying to avoid going down 2-0 at home. Teams with a 2-0 lead have won this series over 87% of the time. Puck drop from Capital One is at 7, and you can watch over on ESPN. And at 7:30, another episode of Into the Trenches premieres right here on DSN. Here's a sneak peek at the latest from A New Voyage.
On the next Into the Trenches.
Not a lot of kids get to hang out with their dad as much as I do.
It's difficult, and I would caution people who coach their kids.
I felt a lot of pressure, man. It was our first home game.
Tonight will probably be the most crowded home opener in years. What are you going to do to sacrifice for your brother?
Into the Trenches, A New Voyage on the Delmarva Sports Network and DSN Plus. Sponsored by Preston Automotive.
Our umbrella giveaway winner, Kevin Sheeran of Lewis. Congratulations, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration, Home Remodeling. Keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line, sponsored by Brockdet, Mandalis, and Federico. And finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. Listen, it's going to be a little rainy late tonight and early tomorrow morning, but after that, we're clear for the weekend. Mother's Day is looking absolutely fabulous, just like Mom.
All right, Paul, thank you, and thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 6.
For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
The NBC Nightly News is up next.
And we're going to see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 11. Have a great evening.